Good morning, and this is the Crypto Day Morning. Today's date coming in that of Saturday, the 5th day of January, 2019. All bets, trades of the like within each his own risk and their own reward. My NHL hockey picks are in the more information box. And this is going to be looking at Bitcoin. Next up after that will be Litecoin and Komodo. And Bitcoin remains amongst the rising 18 average, albeit barely rising. It's a flat one, especially since it's been 3 or 4 days. It was barely rising. It came down here, found support. Correctionary move, of course, not over yet. There's really not too much to say about such. Obviously, I'm looking for the significant breakout, which would thus bring this to a leg higher and transform the daily chart into a bull market, getting above the resistance. And if the 18 lows starts to show weakness and pretty much fails, breaking down below the 35, 31, we've been in a bear market for quite some time, and I'd be expecting another leg lower. We'll wait and see, obviously, until it breaks out of it. It's been several days within the band. It could be several more. Could be, keyword. Amongst the short-term time frame, it got above this 18 average in here, managed to establish this level of resistance, and it's now been several hours amongst the correctionary phase, higher low amongst here. Same sort of deal within the daily, either getting it or out above or down below should signify a little bit of a move. But for what it's worth, if this thing goes higher, it's not, or lower, it's not going to change too much amongst the daily chart, at least for an okay size move, either up or down. Therefore, let's switch on to Litecoin, cross it against Bitcoin, and who would have thought it's having a nice breakout above this level of resistance at levels not seen since October the 3rd of last year. Therefore, it's a 3-month high, getting back all of its losses thus far, having a nice little run. And I was sarcastic when I said who would have thought it would have had a decent gain. It was just a matter of high probability when. High probability because the setup was stating that there was supposed to be a good chance of a good breakout. It's in current form now. Looking at this on the 4-hour term, nice little candle before, after, well, from this one here, which just brought it back to the resistance area, you have a pause period followed by two very nice moves to the upside, breaking this level of resistance at 6 in the morning. Nice green candle up, followed by another green candle up, followed by another sort of, and just pausing right now. Oh, it's only 2 minutes into the period, 57 minutes and 15 seconds remaining. As we can see, it's 9:02. This is Eastern time, or UTC -5. 15-minute chart, of course, just continuing the market towards the upside, the bullish run in place. We look at this on a more longer term view, just like Ethereum, making a move on the more longer term chart, getting above the 18 average. Band 1 or stage 1 for band flattening out has happened. It now looks like it's attempting to do stage 2. I need to see this probably come up to at least the 0.011 mark, even 10.06, 0.0106 area, to be like, okay, that's enough, that's a decent enough move, getting above, you're making a statement, you're trying to revert the trend. Now let's see if you could just burst it up from there, which it has, of course, done in 2017, and it's done so many times before, going from below the 18 lows and just having tremendous size moves. Last year when all the cryptos went off, this was a spot where this had a nice failed breakdown to here and just went straight up really fast. So those are that type of scenario. When you see this, becomes more probable that we can have tremendous moves, aka 40, 50, 60% gains in short periods of time, 4, 5, 6, 10 days from now. That's just, again, higher probability odds because of the market sentiment. Against the US fiat currency, today's day sees the Litecoin getting out above the rising 18 average. I was mentioning on the daily chart that it was correcting on a flat. No, this one's doing so within the rising, as it spent the previous 3 days hanging in there within the 18 highs. Today, looking to make that statement like it wants to break out of this. I'm just going to try to draw a line on where the 18 average of highs happens to be in the area of. I know it's a little lower than what I'm going to be looking at here, but this general area here of around 33, which was resisted in here, supported nicely with a bottom hit 2 times, making a double bottom as there's the two U or V-shaped formations, getting out above it, supporting that key area, and just now over the last few areas having that key break above it. Therefore, the possibilities of decent sized gains moving forward are most certainly much higher than normal. Let's switch up to Komodo, which on its weekly chart, there's your sideways action, downtrend, band flattening out. Is this enough for resistance established? I don't know. It's kind of barely above it. It is, however, staying above this 18 average of highs for now. Good to see it on the short term, which we will do, but the potential for decent sized legs higher seem to be in place. In viewing the daily term, since this bottom in here, you have the nice little high, great correctionary run, another leg higher. It's in the correctionary phase still, so it's still in the middle part of this. Nothing here to state that it's monstrous great chances. It is holding a bull market, so that definitely helps out the case. The question remains, does it look like it's got the potential soon to break out above this correctionary move? Question mark. In viewing the 4-hour term time frame, there was obviously this last previous up run that has been correcting. Just the downtrend has stopped moving sideways. This last little period has just managed to get to the previous high. Nothing too majorly exciting among this. However, when I look at this on a single hour term, I am impressed how we've got this resistance established, it pulls back. This established resisted, and it has a little bit support in here, fails this ascending triangle, and now back in here, a little bit of resistance, a little bit here. So it's holding up relatively nice at this stage. And yes, there might be some bullish correctionary move back to this area for where it came from. That can most certainly come into place, and that's going to keep the bull setup still alive. But it does seem as if that this is trying to make it a chance to have a move and get above, and doing so as we see it on the weekly chart. And this is the Binance, but in either way, because we've been in a downtrend, there's just a lot of potential for great gains, because a lot of cryptos, when they're ready to go, oh, they'll go. And this one seems maybe a little more ready, or it's getting close to such, or closer. Let's just go over the potpourri of other ones. EOS showing continuous strength amongst the 18 highs on the daily term time frame. And getting above this resistance, basically hit 3 times. There's definitely good potential for a nice leg higher. The last one, of course, coming from here up to in here, as it has done very well so far in holding its last move, which topped on December the 18th. Ethereum it's not doing as good as Litecoin today because, well, Litecoin's got the better percentage move. On the daily chart, it's been doing it for a little while now, big moves. We've seen it go from the 259 handle up to 407 now. On the short-term time frame, still hanging in there, chopping around with higher highs and higher lows, and still amidst its correctionary move, or in the correctionary play within the single hour at this stage. Mercury, which is a very low volume traded fund, especially when you look at the 4-hour and you look at candles moving like this, but within those candles looking like such, I do see how it's had a nice little rally here that hasn't quickly came back into the 18 average, rather back to the 18 average of highs, because every single one of these pierce lines, which can be great profitability, at least within its volatility, you can see always has these moves, and then instantly comes back. It has this move, and it doesn't within these 2 periods. A little bit of a price correction down to where it came from. But within such, this again gives me better probabilities than any other random average time of this having a decent size gain. When I say decent, I pretty much mean conservative up to 1600 high, and neutral level up to maybe around 2000, and then aggressive even higher than that, because when cryptos go, they can go. There's not much data towards this. However, the highs from last February, well, that's at 6,800. And when these markets go up, they seem to go up a lot faster than they go down. When this is ready, I wouldn't be surprised if it goes up really fast, not because it's this one, but because it's one of all of them. All of them, I'm saying that same thing. When they're ready to go, they're ready to go. NLC2, another smaller volume traded one. You can actually play poker or fantasy sports with this coin. It's got a case use scenario. Beautiful rally from the December 13th lows up to December the 27th, going from a 143 up to about 424. That is almost better than 3x. But below the 18 lows, that doesn't mean too much to me when I have a move straight up like this and we're just filling this empty space in here. So far, it's filled it down towards this point. Meaning, if it does happen to go down to maybe a 61.8% retracement somewhere near 220-ish area, then that doesn't kill the uptrend, because when you have the very good move like this, I just need to see it hold and stay above an area where it came from. Therefore, when it first had this move, I want to see it hold and stay above there. But then it got really, really high. Well, high, we're not talking TLC, but high as in its price, larger. And then it had a bigger move, so now I'd like to see it maybe hold in this general area in here. And it so far is holding higher. If it does, I'm looking again like anything else for after a correctionary move for price action to get above this. And if it does, given that it's one of those hardly known low volume volatile coins, the X moves up and down can be much, much larger than your base coins like the Ethereum and the Litecoin. OMI's go on the daily term time frame. Nice little setup where we've had this down move as if resistance established. Overall, the band has been in this sideways manner. As far as where we see it now, the last few days hanging in there within the 18 average of highs amongst the single hour term time frame. Leg higher here last night at 8 p.m. Since then, the price has came back to where it came from in the 18. So therefore, if this is a successful move in advance, this area should be holding, and then in time getting above this 18 average of highs, and a new leg higher would not be a surprise. First level of potential resistance would be the previous high at about the 44.4 handle. Next up is PivX, which is having a very volatile up move session where you go to this high, back to the 18 highs, this high, back again. Yesterday having an attempt in breaking out above the trend. It might not be a successful one, but it definitely is that of an attempt. We had this move come up to about 26 change, and now starting to make a move towards the the downside in here, but it's doing so within the newly rising 18. If it's able to make a higher low, hold this area where it came from, between this still just general 2-3 handle, then that is very, very strong. And you see a correctionary move, a resistance lower high move to this high, correct with a higher low. If you get above this, especially when you're close but not too far off from this in here like this, if it gets above the into 27.1-ish area, then I would totally be expecting this to have some prime sweet gains moving forward. And single hour term, when these things move fast, they can just move fast, because there we can see yesterday two little leg higher, but this one here starting at like 21.50, taking like 10 minutes to go from 23 low to 26 high, differential of like 15%. And that's the way these markets normally do it. Big fast gains higher, and then it's gonna have to correct it as it needs to do so. It's had a deeper correction amongst that time frame, as we can see here, but as long as it holds this little area, I'm going to be optimistic that this thing is ready to go soon for a decent leg higher. Thank you for tuning in to this morning's video, and have yourself a great weekend. Bye bye.